Audio morning brief for the U.S. grain market, 7:50 a.m. Eastern Time, November 9th, in response to critical point. We're processing the weekly update, got it videoed. Today is USDA report day, I believe. Really, I don't have any insight. Model really doesn't care whether it's bullish, bearish, or what degree. It just sees all kinds of possibilities. And apparently the market does, because you look at the corn market, really hasn't done anything as it waits on the USDA report. So nobody's brave enough to make a stance ahead of it. The model assumes that we've seen a level 3 bottom last week, level 3 top this week, trend is down, and next week that does suggest we're going to get a bearish report, but I don't think it's going to be outright bearish. It might be just slightly bearish, wouldn't be surprised. It's neutral. Now, as a backup, however, the model's saying the level 3 tops and bottom is so close, and we've had a 4-day trading range into this USDA report with fairly wide swings, actually. And what the model is saying, we better keep an eye on a triple top that is right around the 480 mark to about 481 and a quarter, which would be in the November 3rd high. And that's also November 3rd and November 6th is a 2-day consecutive double top, in my opinion, and I always like to bet against those. And now that we have a triple top, even though triple tops can actually work, people tell you, oh, they don't work, you want to bet against them. No, they can work for quite a while first, then later it works, okay? Or doesn't work, all right? But anyways, I think if you see trade above that, what the model is going to do is flip and say, be bullish for the next 1.5, 2 weeks. The level 3 bottom that's due next week is going to come in on the way up, ahead of it. Then it might be bearish for 1.5 to 2 weeks after we have the 1.5, 2 week bull run. There's also a slight chance that level 3 bottom would come in on the way up, but just after the level 3 bottom, but only amount to 2 days. If so, really this market's going up the next 4 weeks. So there is some bullish potential here in terms of time, duration, how long it takes them to buy stuff, and what kind of news can be coming down the pipeline here. Maybe even news today that's bullish, okay? Now, but unfortunately, the current best forecast is we need a near-term bearish bias into next week, but it doesn't really have to amount to much. And I'm also reminding myself, it may swing in both directions all the way through next week and the following week. It's just range-bound and may not go as low as I think. Now, if it does take out the 481 market, the model will generate relative, and it will use the critical point more than fundamentals. It will generate objectives in the low 490s, like 490 to 495. And I wouldn't rule out a revisit of 5, but not necessarily for this level 3 rally, okay? Now, on the other hand, if it takes out last week's low at 468, the model's going to say, well, we have the evidence. Yeah, it's bearish in the next week, okay? And it will generate downside targets of 460 to about 454. So keep an eye on that, okay? Now, the next thing to do is realize those upside and downside targets won't be generated until we take out those lows. We need a breakout of this range. And the model's saying, really, the market's unsure what to do. Some people, it's about 50-50. Half of them are betting it's going higher next 1.5, 2 weeks. The other half betting it's going lower 1.5, 2 weeks. So there must not be quality enough data there. And of course, they're also resting and waiting on the report. And the report should help us. Now, as I zoom inside the level 4 swings, it was up as of yesterday, but unfortunately it could top yesterday or today. So we could get a blip up, only down, or it may just go down, don't know. All I can tell you is the bottom is due late today into tomorrow. That's a little bit of a bias that they sell after the report, but it's not telling us whether it's really going to be a leg down of a level 3 downtrend. So my best guess at the moment is it's probably going lower into next week. And it may not be all that bearish because it may be one of these reports that's more neutral, doesn't really matter. But I will be more than happy to have to flip to a near-term upward bias. But I need trade over 481 and a quarter, and I need to actually see some USD data. Now, and how does the market feel about that USD data? Now, I won't discuss the larger trends. We'll do that in a weekly update. While I have it here, I'll switch to the December wheat, Chicago. Price-wise, it looked like it topped yesterday for level 3, but really internally, I'm all saying it's probably topping this morning. Or if they were to bounce it today, it can top today and then be down tomorrow. I'm even allowing one more day, meaning extend into Monday. We may even extend it into Tuesday to finish this level 3 uptrend. I think it's unusual to see it rally into a USDA report. I always thought they sell them into USDA report, so that's fascinating. But I think looking out the next week, we're going to see lower wheat prices. And I'm guessing we're probably going to see lower corn and may yet see lower soybeans. And I'm all fine with that. That's good. But what does the USDA report do now? Does it push the bulls into early next week, or does it push the bears now into next week? Even if the bulls are bullish in next week for all three markets, probably going to be bearish. They'll back off. Daily indicator rolling over here for sell signal. Now, I set up on another price target yesterday, late afternoon, and overnight it touched it, or close enough, it gets a gold star. Yesterday's price action was inside of that target, so it would have get a good gold star anyways, in my opinion. But the better timing for a top is today into maybe Monday, possibly Tuesday, but I prefer this week. I think it ought to be over, and it may be starting to be over. Looking out to next week, I just feel like if they want to bounce it first, maybe they'll even explode it, but they're going to sell it next week. And I got a feeling there's some selling for the other markets. So, at any rate, that target, by the way, I set up was 592.5, okay, to maybe 617. So it may yet go that high. I'm just warning you, it acts like it's trying to top now. Even if it goes higher, I think it goes lower next week. There'll be a wave of selling, okay? And then I got a very interesting update on just how long wheat can rally, or may rally, for the remainder of this year. So check out the weekly update. Let's get to the January soybeans. And by the way, I have some interesting stuff on soybeans in Brazil, and somewhat for corn too, relative to U.S. forecast. All right, soybeans, this is the day to start looking for a level 3 top. And even though it's not as high as it was yesterday, it doesn't matter. The model's even warning this may be a 3-day head and shoulders. So they can sell this now into next week. And the model's warning they will be selling by next week. The question is, does it start today? Does it start tomorrow? Does it start early next week? Meaning they could still push this market higher into early next week. They could even push it higher all the way into late, even to the end of next week. And then all they'll do is pull it back to early following week for a bottom. They'll just reduce the amount of time to decline and delay that bottom into the following week. So it can be bullish for a while. And in my opinion, this is still an uptrend. All they're doing is hovering this market near a 5-day average. And frankly, I'm not so sure yesterday's high was a level 4 top. I think, so in other words, it may bounce well today and may even bounce into tomorrow. And then there's your level 3 top today or tomorrow at a higher price. It may bounce off this 5-day average. But if it starts trading below yesterday's low, 1361, got to be a little concerned unless it's those first few minutes at the start of the release of the report, because the computers might get a little crazy and sell it and then realize they made a mistake and they put it back up. So a better signal that we have a level 3 top is trade below 1356 3/4. January beans, more so a close. Just depends how much you want to risk, how much you want to miss out of to feel comfortable. Daily indicator, interesting enough, is bearish. It's already rolled over. Is it a leading indicator? Because mostly technical indicators lag, but sometimes they're right on, and sometimes they even lead a bit. Can't tell if this is leading, or did it just pull back to relieve the overbought condition so it can rally yet again and put it back to overbought? Don't know, okay? But it is acting bearish. So again, I look out to next week, I think beans will be down. And they may start down from today. They may start down for tomorrow. They may start down from sometime next week. Don't know for sure, okay? But this is the first time to watch out for a top. And here it is, USDA report day. So it may be they don't particularly care for the report. I don't think we're going to get extremely bearish report by no means. I think by next week, maybe this market pulled back half of what it rallied from last week into this week. And we may get bullish or neutral, and they just put it up anyway. So I think this market can go higher without the USDA. Okay, I really do. But looking out to next week, really the better move is it really ought to back off. So does it start next week on into the following week? Does it start next week and wrap it up next week? Does it start this week? It's iffy, and we just got to see what it does relative to the USDA data and how the market behaves to that data. Now, I will say the last 2 days, if you look at your charts, they put it up and then they eased it back towards the low of the day. They weren't that bearish, but the point is they faded it. Someone thinks this is high enough, and it did meet my upside objective. 2 days ago, it punched into it, backed off to the lowest side of that objective. In other words, the close 2 days ago, 1362 was close enough to lowest of the upside objective. Yesterday, or the next day, it actually respected as well, but closed a little higher within the target range. Now, that target range is as high as 1573, so it was above it, but they faded it and put it back into that target range. That's fascinating. It's telling me that's what it's really worth for level 3 trend. Now, maybe USDA data will give them a chance to rethink that and put it higher, or it gives them a chance to think, no, it's worth less, okay? Or they throw out USDA and just value it themselves. Come next week, somebody's going to say it's too high priced no matter what USDA says. We'll see. All right, now, if by chance it moves up and takes out yesterday's high at 1384.5, I would consider 1397 to maybe even as high as 1410, all right? But that's not official, and it's not very high probability or confidence, but it is something to think about. But on the downside, I only see like a halfway retracement of something, maybe back to 1340. We will see. All right, so now we'll just have to see what the data says, and I may not update you in a timely manner here. It may take a while to research things. All right, have a great day. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. Thank you.